Oh, well, we're back to Bleach Soul Resonance, and we're going to be talking about the boy, Mayuri. What hasn't been said about this man by us at this point, but we do have an extra layer, an extra wrinkle in the equation, because unbeknownst to me, some people out there were tricked and fooled by that LMAO rerun. So I do want to talk about sort of your optics going forward. Some people also, went out of their way and just pulled immediate dupes on Trushika Ichigo. Again, while I think this was not the best thing you could have done, given that this character is here for 61 more days, there is an extra layer. Again, we are recording this on, I think it's Sunday right now. Should be. Sunday means that tomorrow we might be seeing Bambi's patch actually go live, but we do not have confirmation as of me recording. We are 19 days away from this banner ending, which means we are 19 days then probably away from Uryu releasing. Because of that, to those of you who pulled for dupes, to those of you who pulled for LMAO, you are in a tricky position. You really are. Because we return to the obvious sort of conundrum within Bleach Soul Resonance right now, which is the structure of these teams. Now, we have confirmation that this will be sort of the what should I do? I guess this. This will be sort of the expected team using Uryu as a stand-in for Bambietta for Bambi until at least the end of the celebration. Now, there are several ways this could be going. Route 1. Every single finesse type is released for now in this area, this range, meaning Bambietta is the DPS, Uryu is the tactics character, and Candace is the support. Route 2. We get Uryu as the tactics replacement for LMAO. I think this is pretty believable, I'm not gonna lie. This would probably be just awful for people who are actually baited into pulling for this character. Again, and this is always the first layer of talking about pulling characters in mobile games. It is your currency ultimately. You should do whatever you like with your account. But when you come to channels like this, and I'm speaking from a more objective lens of what you probably should take care to do to keep in mind, I don't really have any room for being like, oh, but she's so bad though. Look at her put on her alt skin. Like, she puts on her alternate skin, she's so bad. I don't really care about that because that doesn't weigh in for building an account, for fleshing out an account, and ultimately who's going to be around longest, right? We have to make predictions and prepare for various options. So that's option 2, is Uryu ends up being thrust, and the finesse team looks something like Candace, Bambi, plus, I don't know, SR, I don't know, some SR character. I've seen people float that Candace could maybe be the tactics character, and then we get an SR support, but who knows ultimately? We don't know. That is going to be information that is sort of up in the air. If you want my honest opinion, I would go as far as to say that Bambi being the full DPS has led to me thinking that this is essentially 50-50. It is so strong now that I'm just like, well, who knows what's going to happen? I no longer know at all if the Uryu, Candace, and the like are going to be a finesse team, or if they're going to split them up. Because again, as people keep quoting, they did say they weren't going to release the same typing of character over and over and over. But does that change when we're introducing a new type? Does that change when we're introducing characters who are obviously related to each other very directly within the canon of Bleach, the Quincy? Who knows? We don't know. We don't know. So again, a lot of this is speculation. A lot of this is on us to speculate and give safe responses. That's the thing about pulling for a character like Mayuri versus pulling a character like LMAO. LMAO is you are pulling for your heart. Mayuri, you're pulling for safety. Right now, we have 2 SSR supports in the game. Mayuri and Xayalapido. Xayalapido arguably is a better character, but he goes on less teams, he is less necessary to the overall health of the game, and he really only scales up as you go into his boundaries, in terms of like just gapping Mayuri, right? So for this channel, for all of its purposes, we wouldn't care about that. What we know is that Mayuri undeniably is the most important character to have on any account. He makes strike work, he makes thrust work, he makes slash work, and the only team he cannot do this on is, of course, Spirit. Now, our expectation after this next 21 days and then another 21 days after that, or actually, I guess it'd be 19 days, then 21 days, then 21 days, which means we are on August 19th right now. So 19 days would put us on September. 21 days after that would put us on about the 30th, maybe the 29th. And then 21 days after that would put us smack bang in the middle of October, going towards the late end. After that, November will be coming around. When November comes around, we will be officially in the anniversary of this game. That means to me, or seems to mean to me, that I believe it's late November, right? So we should have room for another support. So slash support, strike support. Essentially, that support will tell us what Vastalord Ichigo will be, I think. So with that in mind, you just heard me list out a bunch of time slots that are essentially unmovable. They can't really be changed, right? These are sort of the facts of the upcoming timeline, right? Moving all the way up until Core 4 ends. Because of that, Mayuri is going to be around for a long time. Nellel supposedly will be along for quite a long time. So, you know, hopefully you're getting a good amount out of your Nellel pickup. Mayuri is necessary then. Even when they start dropping supports, by the way. When they start dropping supports, Nellel and Mayuri will most likely, given any sort of Uryu funniness, be on the thrust team. When they start dropping supports before Vastalord Ichigo in the first anniversary, we will most likely be seeing a gap in either the slash or the support or the strike team. One of them will still have to go another 21 days without a proper support. This is just, again, sort of the way that she's building right now. What they could do instead is give Candace a spot where she can fulfill the role of a Yurahara, and hopefully they do this to at least some degree and don't make her so solely focused on finesse. But back to Mayuri. This character is quite a bit of power creep with 300% crit damage, and the only thing you really need to get on him are his weapon and just pull his core stamp. And if you get dupes on his core stamp, then hallelujah. Do not, I've seen people saying, could I grab Mayuri and not his weapon? Do not do this. Do not do this. The beginning technique with this here makes his rotations essentially sing. This support here, the All Mastery and the Ailment Mastery, are very good as well. I just wouldn't go about it like that. I don't know if it's enough to just grab him. I will say the core stamp feels the most pivotal, but if you are in a position where you started to run out of resources because you keep pulling boundaries, and because of that you can't grab weapons, I would probably suggest that you should just do a flat skip and try to stock up your resources. You can see that because of the delay, I am at 40,000 essentially. It's actually, we're 14 minutes away as of recording this video from the weeklies resetting. So by the time that Bambi actually drops, I will be at 40,000 Jade. I haven't been at this much since launch, I think. That just comes with the territory. And so yeah, I'm waiting. I mean, I'm waiting. Sorry, a little tired, so it's a little late. I am waiting. It is one of those things though that if you went all in on Ichigo, if you went in on Nellel, you are down a pull. Every time you pull a dupe, you are down one character pull, like one what is it, like pity essentially. With your natural amount of luck, because you should at some point hit the jackpot and pull a character early, you will have enough to pull characters like First Anniversary Ichigo, whatever comes thereafter, and the supports, but it is going to take some stepping back. One of the reasons I had a bit of a stockpile when the game first started is not only was everything new, not only were we getting a lot of rewards, but I did end up skipping Hitsugaya's weapon banner because I didn't know how important weapons would be, and I didn't know how plentiful Jade would be, meaning I played very conservatively and held on to it. That means that compared to other accounts making videos in the free-to-play space, I always had at least one extra banner that I did not pull on. So when it was time to pull dupes, when it was time for me to go for an LL dupes and stuff like that, barring a little bit of luck, which is always very important, I was able to grab that. I also had a lucky streak with both Soifon, as I've talked about, and Zayalapido. Also, I put my tickets into Kenpachi right before his banner left, and I pulled on his as well. So it's one of those things where pulling on extra banners does add up, and you need to be very careful. I've laid out the timeline. I've laid out things that could happen. For now, this character is just not going away for quite a while. People want to hold on to this idea that these characters are not the problem. Like, I've seen people hold on to the idea that like Nalel is not the problem. I've seen people hold on to the idea that Aizen's not the problem. A lot of this comes from fandom, which I don't care about. Obviously, I like all of these characters. I want all these characters to be around. But once we start talking about, well, Aizen is actually good for Ulquiorra, once you have him at like B4, it's like, I don't really think that's true. I think people are confusing dupe power, extra stats, in terms of like defense ignore and the spirit damage here, obviously the dupe here, a bunch of levels here in the skills. People are confusing that power with mechanical synergy, and it's hard to explain that to people. They sort of meet up against a wall and do not understand that there is a complete difference between a character being mechanically synergistic and a character just being duped out, which is fine. But if you are someone who's under the illusion that like Aizen is exactly who Ulquiorra wants, all you have to do is get him to B4, I think you are incorrect. Ulquiorra clearly was not designed with Aizen being his tactics character in mind. He was just designed to be the character that he is. Same with Nalel. You cannot come to me and be like, well, Nalel was obviously designed knowing that Ichigo Kurosaki from TYBW was coming. No, she was designed to play with Gin. In the same way that I think Aizen was designed to essentially be his own character, to essentially stand alone as his own character, as is Aizen's sort of identity, right? He is the strongest, or one of the strongest. He's sort of like at the peak, and he sort of ostracizes everyone around him. These characters as well, like, we know that Soifon and Grimjo were designed to play well together. The difference between Soifon, Aizen, and Nalel is that Soifon is a very generically selfless character. She's completely selfless. She essentially cannot... You could switch her to any typing right now, and the team would probably be better, because right now we're moving into a meta of kind of selfish DPS characters. Ulquiorra wants a little bit more time on field, Grimjo wants a little more time on field, and Kuroshikai Ichigo wants a bit more time on field, right? So characters like White Ichigo and Soifon are just not going to have as big of a problem as this. So I think Mayuri just stands above a lot of times as an example of, when you know Mayuri is returning, why would you ever pull for Nalel? Because this character is phased out. If you know that Zayalapido is returning, why would you ever pull for Aizen? This character is phased sort of out at this point. Again, if you have high dupes in this character, you can be tricked into thinking that his synergy with Ulquiorra is still strong, but it is not. It is simply an instance of sort of the accelerated power level of having dupes at all. These are synergistically different conversations to be having. It doesn't mean you can't use Aizen with Ulquiorra until your heart is content. It doesn't mean that Aizen won't perform. It just means that when we're talking about synergistic, kits, we are not talking about Aizen just having more dupes, so being stronger than the rest of your box. That's just not the conversation that's being had. That's why I don't tend to talk about B4. That's why I don't tend to talk about B6, because I have to talk about B0, B1, B2. And if you're at B0, B1, B2, and you're like, well, Aizen at B4 is actually pretty good with Ulquiorra, it's like, well, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sorry. So yeah, I would try to pull a copy of Mayuri as best you can. I guess that's the summation of this video. Sorry to yap, I went into a bit of a tangent spiral. But he is worth it. He will slowly be phased out of other teams, almost certainly. But for now, that's 19 days away. Then 21 days away is 40. Then another 21 days away is like 61 days, right? So at minimum, he's 3, 4, maybe 5 months away from not being on at least 2 teams at all times, because we don't know how they'll be able to fit in 2 supports prior to anniversary. So they'll probably be fitting in at least 1 character to complement first anniversary Ichigo, and then another character in January maybe, or something like that, or whenever, to complement the Strike or Slash team, whichever. So yeah, he's just important. Guess that's kind of just the short of it. But I have been Lone. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the club, y'all go make it, and hopefully we are only one day more away from Bambi. Peace.